Hello everybody, Dylan here. Now today we are going to be doing another Sonic Insanity. Today we're actually going to be looking at a Twitter thread made by a user called Weer. Now Weer has an experience with Ian Flynn that I really found interesting and that I wanted to talk about. And one of the things I want to remind you before I start this is, I don't hate Ian Flynn. I have nothing personal against Ian Flynn. It's just when I see something stupid, cringy, or interesting to me, I'm going to talk about it. I have no biases for Ian Flynn, regardless what I think of his writing. So I'm going to try to present this as I see it, I'm going to give you my honest opinions, and we're going to learn some new stuff about Ian Flynn if you didn't already watch Lance's video on this. Okay, so I'm going to be reading over this whole Twitter thread. And I'm going to be looking at some Twitter doc stuff, so twit long or whatever you want to call it. Weirdo says, so on a serious topic, I know a handful of people have been curious about how I occasionally bring up having an awful run-in with Ian Flynn, and why I think he is a horrible person. And before, I never wanted to bring it up in too much detail because I always am worried. And he goes on to continue saying that some of my own friends would side against me when it comes to that thing, because that's kind of shit that goes down when anyone with a following has their morality brought into question. But I'm now starting to realize that. I don't know why he keeps putting C's there. What the fuck is the C's for? It's weird. Well, if any of my friends were the types who would turn against me if I opened up and got this off my chest, then they clearly weren't my friends to begin with. That's a good mentality to have. And it's better that I know that now. Yeah, so then they don't try to turn against you later. It's the internet. That's just how people act. So, that being said, is anyone interested? And then he continues saying, alright, since a few people showed interest, and again, I wanted to get this off my chest, this is a summary of my run-in with former Archie/current IDW writer Ian Flynn. It is by far the most bitter thing I've experienced in my life. I think that you're kind of sheltered if this is the worst thing you've ever experienced in your life, but then again, I don't know your life experiences. This is amateur shit to me. I've seen worse than this happen on the internet. But anyway, he says, okay, it started back, I want to say 10 years ago, something in the ballpark. Whenever Treasure Team Tango was a thing, I don't know what the fuck that is, because it was after that. I was a part of a small group of 3 that signed up on the forums that he runs, a place called Bumble King. I've heard about Bumble King. I haven't checked it out. I don't know if it still fucking exists. I don't know. I think he has like a podcast now called like Bumble Cast, so it's kind of like a spiritual successor to his old forums, but I'm not really too interested in Ian Flynn as a person. He's pretty boring. And more or less, they were like, hey man, we like your work, but we think that you're really represented the Babylon Rogues poorly here. We presented our case as respectfully and polite as possible. So they're saying that they don't like the way that he represented the Babylon Rogues in the comics. And I'm assuming that this is back with the Archie stuff. Okay, I think that's a little dumb, but to each their own. And we were absolutely dogpiled over it. People jumped in left and right saying some pretty nasty shit over it. It's the Sonic community. If you have an opinion that like counters other people's opinions, you're gonna get shit on in the Sonic community. Getting overzealous as it could be, all topped off with Ian himself jumping in to say nobody cares what you think. You know, that's pretty childish of Ian Flynn. Like, he's a writer at Archie. He really should be a bit more mature than that, but I can't say that I wouldn't do the same if I was put in the situation of someone annoying me over how I wrote a comic book character. Now, after this, I just left. I was done, and I didn't want to have anything left to do with that asshole. However, the others stuck around. maybe they didn't quite want to believe their hero was such a douche. I don't know. Online, you gotta deal with it. Practically everyone's a douchebag on the internet. Like, don't fucking look up to people. Don't idolize people. You're only gonna be disappointed when you find out that they're shitbags like everybody else. Whatever the case, they proceeded to stick around, and the screenshots and links they continued to send to me only confirmed what I already knew. The guy heavily pampered anyone who sucked up to him. I continue to watch my friends were verbally abused by a bunch of mindless drones. That's not bias at all to say that. With absolutely no provocation, and to top it off, they showed private warnings from Ian himself, how they were on thin ice for blank inciting blank. Oh, okay, I guess that's quotation marks. Those quotation marks are far too big. You just need two. You don't need that much. Inciting them, with the breaking point being after said friend decided to just log off and leave for a bit, found out he was banned for literally nothing, even though he gave a reason a second ago. They were inciting stuff, but whatever. Let me make this clear. He got a warning on a post, then proceeded to have absolutely no activity over the next 24 hours, but got banned anyway. I mean, I guess you're right. Like, if someone gives you a warning, they should stick to that warning and just leave it as a warning. But I guess that they saw enough shit to get him banned and they agreed on it. I don't know. It could have been an abuse of power. This is 10 years ago and there's not enough screenshots to prove either way, but whatever. So I was distraught simply over how distraught my friends were. Like, this was bullshit. Why do you care? It's a fucking shitty forum. Just don't go there anymore. Like, I don't get why so many people get so distraught when they fucking get banned on Twitter or get banned on a website. Go somewhere else. Hang out with other people. You don't need to be in Ian Flynn's echo chamber. They just had worse don't meet your hero situation I'd ever seen. I've seen worse. The guy was an asshole, an absolute douchebag to the highest degree, with an ego frailer than prop movie glass, and absolutely sunk everyone's moods. Oh, boo-hoo. So I wanted to cheer them up with some cheap laughs. So what I did was surprise them by making a parody account on Twitter. It was a little in-joke. It was a minuscule thing that we never wanted to make it any more than a way I could throw some tongue-in-cheek riffs at my friends. Way to ease things up. It was stuff like, I take inspiration from the werehog when it comes to my writing. It's slow. Ha 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 ha. Gets nowhere and nobody wants it. Yeah, I get it. So what they're saying they did was they made a parody account of Ian Flynn. And these accounts exist a lot. Like, there's a parody Shigeru Miyamoto, there's a parody Sega. It's just usually in the description of these accounts it says parody. I don't know if they did that, but yeah, these are really fucking common things on Twitter. I think no more than 10 people knew about it, and through means of that, to this day, I still don't understand Ian Flynn was one of them. Of course he was one of them. You named it Ian Flynn, of course he's gonna find the account. He claimed, well, Archie found out about it. They thought it was me. I mean, I guess that could be it, but I know what Ian Flynn did. He fucking searched his name on Twitter. He's an egotist. That's most likely what he did to find it. He just looked up Ian Flynn on Twitter and that popped up. Which was bullshit. Wait, we didn't use the guy's real name. Well then, what? I did a goofy similar name to just avoid that kind of thing. Well then, how did... Well, I guess Ian Flynn's a real detective if he found it then, but what's even the point of making it if you're gonna use some stupid name? Like, the fake Shigeru Miyamoto uses Shigeru Miyamoto. You should at least went with, like, the totally real Ian Flynn or something like that. At least then people would have known, but I don't even know why you would do that. The only outcome that makes a reasonable amount of sense is I use sense lightly, considering the kind of crazy that would have needed to do this, is that he saw that I linked to one of my main Twitter accounts. Well, of course that's how he... God. Okay, whatever. He saw that I linked to my main Twitter account on the forums and just decided to creep around and found it that way. Yeah, that's probably how he found it. You left a fucking trail of breadcrumbs. Of course someone's gonna find your alt accounts if you do that. So what does he do? He goes on a rant about it. Now, thankfully, it didn't go anywhere. His lawyer told him the same thing Twitter support told me. Yeah, you're within the rules and he can't do anything, but I decided to apologize anyway. I had to do it just as a public tweet because, surprise, surprise, he blocked me. Oh, well that's kind of funny. He's bitching about you, but then he blocks you. And to top it off with a capital "and," because that's how sentences work, Flynn, in his absolute childishness, makes a huge twit longer where he actually acknowledges the apology and claims it to be ineffective because I didn't directly say to him, "Gee, I wonder why again," and not like I had no way to directly get it to him, and proceeds to go on a rant and had a disturbing amount of personal information about me, even down to my experience surviving cancer, as well as some shitty side remarks, like I'm used to at this point. If anyone shows interest, I might be able to dig up the twit longer in question, which he did, and he has it linked. I'm not going to read over it, because he basically summarized it right there, and I'll talk about why the twit longer isn't doxing after I'm done with this part. So let's just finish this off, because there was a lot about it that pissed me off, ranging from him claiming that I did the parody account simply over fictional characters, which I think that might be viable, because you started this whole thing off giving us a summary about your fucking fictional character obsession, how he wasn't representing them properly, and that's what got you bullied to begin with. So the fact that he connected 2 and 2 together just shows that he's a basic human being. You start off your rant by mentioning the Babylon Rogue shit, even though it's barely relevant at all. Of course he's gonna make the connection. I don't know why. I'll just continue. I'll go on a big side tangent if I have to keep talking about that, which was a load of shit, because I did it because the guy was a complete asshole to me and my friends over fictional characters. So Ian Flynn is right. That's what's funny about it. He's right. I'm not saying that he's in the right. I'm just saying he's right about why you're upset. That shit doesn't fly. Why doesn't it? Is he not allowed to give his honest opinion? People could say that I'm an influencer, that I'm a creator, and I insult my fans, and I insult people who are stupid to me. Does that not fly? I don't get what's going on. And with a capital A, another capitalizing "and," I guess is a fan fiction writer, and he also for no reason dragged my girlfriend into his rant, despite her having nothing to do with the account whatsoever. And to top it off, he made a comment like, "But he's a role player, and you know what people say about those." Okay, so I think that's funny, because Ian Flynn is a role player too. He used to roleplay as he used to roleplay as fucking Bean the Dynamite, so no room to talk about that. But I think that's the end of that. Yeah, it is. I'm gonna click off of that. Now, let me find the link to the twit longer. I know he's got more shit to say before he shows that, but I wanna look over this and just tell you why it's not doxing. He does reveal a lot of personal information about the fucking guy, weirdo, in this. But really, all of the shit he reveals is just shit that's made public already. He found alt Twitter accounts, he found alt Facebook accounts, he found shit, and they were all connected to that username. Everything he found was public. So if anyone is trying to say that it's doxing, I wouldn't agree. I wouldn't agree that it's doxing. I'd agree that he's an asshole for doing it, but no. All the shit he found was public. It was all under the same username. He did a lot of detective fucking sleuth work to get this shit, but he didn't actually pay someone to dox him. He didn't hack him. He didn't pay someone to hack him. All this shit could have been found by anybody. So if you want to consider this doxing, go ahead. I wouldn't, because no private information was revealed. Everything was public. So yeah, so I'm just going to dismiss that. I don't care about this twit longer. If you want to hear about this, just go watch fucking Lance's video. He reads over the whole thing, and I'm not really too interested in it. It's just Ian Flynn talking about how sad he is because one of his family members died and how he didn't appreciate the parody account, and I don't fucking care. I really don't care. Again, I just felt that needed to get off my chest. I always felt like bringing this up was something I had to be careful about because of this guy's popularity, and I guess I thought maybe it'd grow to be less of a sore for me as the years went on, but it never did. This guy made fun of me once and dug up information on me that was public. How terrible. I'll never forgive him. Fucking first world problems. Thinking about the way this man throws his weight around, thinking about how he treats his fans behind the scenes, and thinking about how I hate how you fucking structure sentences. He gets away with it because it could be worse. He could be Pinders. Still irks me to this day. So there's one last thing I intend to add to this thread about the whole Ian Flynn mess. This is Ian's twit longer. I don't fucking care. I'm not reading the twit longer. Is this just no? Okay, that's your response to it. Let me read over this a little bit. All right, to start this over, there's a lot to unpack. You're going to have a lot to bear because it's twit longer on its own. Do you have to read the twit longer to get this? Whatever. I told you all about the twit longer. He bitched about one of his family members dying and said he didn't appreciate the parody account. For starters, I'd like to state that as a cancer survivor, I think it's horribly disrespectful to preamble post about a petty internet argument by bringing up a dying relative situation into this. Yeah, same. I don't think Ian should have brought up his dying relative. At the same time, I'd start with my own staggering odds for the last several years to have leukemia relapses the moment. I don't care about your petty story either. It didn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter. This was about a petty argument that a man with power and clout to abuse. See, this is what I don't like about Ian Flynn people. I don't like people who are against Ian Flynn because they make it sound like he's Fidel Castro. He's not. He's not. He's a fucking petty man-child. Yeah, he's a fucking goofy weirdo online and I don't like him. But I'm not gonna say he's the absolute evil of the earth. This is why I don't like talking about Flynn too much, because these people care too much about him. Childish, I would have gotten out of bed, smacked the silly. Oh, come on. Now you're fucking talking about slapping him, whatever. With that out of the way, the man proceeded to wholeheartedly admit to digging up an amount of information on both me and my friends. He didn't have to try that hard, because all he did was look up your username. I probably could have had a case for breach of my own personal privacy. You would have lost, because all the shit he found was public. And again, because of a parody account that made fun of his writing. Well, I mean, you're both petty little bitches. That's what I'm getting from this. You're both fucking petty bitches. You didn't like how he represented Babylon Rogues, which are a group of fictional fucking birds. And then he didn't like how you represented him, a big fucking loser. So now you guys are just slap fighting with each other on Twitter. But now, this is one thing that gets me. He proceeded to claim to be the very end of this all because he doesn't like how I write a cartoon bird. Yeah, that's exactly how this all started. You didn't like how he wrote the Babylon Rogues. You admitted that to begin with. That's what started you to complain at him. Bullshit. This was because I didn't like how a sad man with a frail ego, yes, I get it. Yes, I get it. No, like, you continue saying that he was a complete ass to you and your friends, but you went in there confronting him. Like, you guys were the ones that had issues to begin with. You came in there hostile towards him, and then he proceeded to be hostile back. Now, do I think he should do that? No, because he, at the end of the day, represents Archie and represents IDW. Used to represent Archie, currently represents IDW. He should act more mature. But I'm just saying that it's not all him. It's you too. You're equally to blame in this situation. But it didn't matter, did it? He could claim whatever he wanted about me and my friends. He didn't say anything. He didn't say anything that wasn't true, so I'm skipping over that part. However, that couldn't be further from the truth. It was a joke account with hardly 10 followers, all consisting of my closest friends at the time. I don't care what the intent was. It's he didn't like the parody account. He lost that argument to begin with. You don't like that he quote-unquote doxed you, but in reality, he just dug up shit that was already public on you. Either one of you could have ended this shit before it got crazy, but you guys continued to fucking throw this around, and you're bringing this up 10 years later, so what does that look like on you? Like, 10 years later, you're still bringing him up, meanwhile, I doubt he remembers you at all. Anyway, if you read through this and made it to this point, then thank you. If you read it, if you retweet it, and even if you gave it a like, thank you. That doesn't sound like pandering. This whole situation is one that weighed heavily on me for years, and I never felt I even properly got a chance to explain my side of things because all of the insane controlling things that Ian Flynn did surrounding it. So, knowing that people are willing to hear me out, knowing that they're willing to listen to my side of the story, it's taken a huge load off my mind. Thank you. So, at the end of the day, I would say that this whole thing with Weirdo, it's something that happened all the way back in like 2011, 2010, maybe even further back. Who fucking knows? This happened over a fucking decade ago, and this guy is just now bringing it up again. It seems like this guy is a very butthurt individual. He didn't like how Ian Flynn wrote the Babylon Rogues, which is fair, you have the right to complain about it. He brought fire into Ian Flynn's kitchen, and then didn't like it when he also got burnt. If you're gonna talk shit to someone on the internet, prepare for them to talk shit to you back. It doesn't matter if they're the head writer for IDW, it doesn't matter if they're any fucking random scrub on some random forum. If you talk shit to someone, chances are they're gonna talk shit back. If you start doing stupid shit, chances are they're gonna do something stupid to you back. It's the same as if you would have fucked with someone on 4chan. Chances are they would reveal personal shit about you. You just better be lucky that Ian Flynn didn't literally dox you like anyone else could have. All he did was dig up information that you didn't keep hidden well enough. And if you didn't want this shit being found, why did you fucking do it under the same username? Why would you make it so easy to be found if you didn't want this stuff spread around? I don't know, maybe that's just me. Maybe I've spent too many years online bullying people. You can think whatever you want about Weirdo. I think he's a crybaby, and I think Ian Flynn's a man-baby. So hopefully you guys like this video. If you want to see a different perspective, go check out Lance Jerkoff. Thank you guys for watching, and bye.